Good evening. Like many of you, I grew up watching awesome futuristic movies about robots and artificial intelligence. I always imagined there'd be a Lieutenant Data walking around, or one day I'd be able to say, cool, I have my own Terminator. Awesome. But today I think the future is going to be different. I spent 10 years at research universities studying how the brain works, specifically how reward and attention improve learning. About 2 years ago, I realized that my research could help us build better robots. And so I moved to San Diego to start working with a company called Brain Corporation to do this. Brains for robots is what we're focused on. And think about an animal, a dog, for example, running after a frisbee and jumping up and catching it. Brains allow you to perceive, understand, and act on the world. And brains are different from computers. Computers don't perceive, animals do. Computers are really good at doing the things we find hard, like math, playing chess, or even becoming a Jeopardy champion. But robots need to be able to do things we find easy, like if the glass breaks, it needs to recognize the event and go and help clean it up, for example. So imagine after a long day of work, you're at home and you're sitting on the couch and your cell phone starts ringing. You realize it's not in your pocket, it's actually on the shelf charging. But a robot that understands the context will be able to roll over, grab the phone, and bring it over to you conveniently. Now, this kind of thing robots today are set up in laboratories or factory settings where everything is exactly where it needs to be. That's not going to translate to a robot operating in your home and helping you. And my grandparents are getting older and more forgetful, and it would be great if there was a robot that could just notice when things were out of place and put them back where they could find them, for example. So interaction is also going to be a key part of the future of robots. If you have a robot today, like say a vacuum cleaner, you probably turn it on, close the door, and let it do its thing, and you only interact with it when it gets in trouble. But robots of the future will be much more interactive. You'll be able to communicate with your robot and tell it, hey, I'm on my way home. Could you set the table for 4? I'm bringing friends. Or could you bring brewskis out to the jacuzzi? We want to go hang out there. And if your robot's really good, it'll call you back if the fridge is empty and say, by the way, on your way home, don't forget to pick up some beers. So yes, interaction is going to be key. Robots and people will need to interact, and brains are what are going to allow them to do this. Now, in addition to interacting with people, robots will interact with each other. So when they interact with people, they'll be like well-trained pets. They'll understand gestures and commands. But they'll also interact with each other. Take a little robot like this one that could roll around and pick up things off the floor. Imagine it had to pick up a book. Maybe it's too short to put the book back on the shelf, so it might collaborate with a taller robot to help it do its job. Robots will come in all shapes and sizes, and people are going to want to customize them. And by customize, I don't just mean color. I mean their behaviors. You'll want the robot to do things in a particular way in your house. And a brain is going to enable this too, because a brain will enable a robot to learn. So you could, for example, teach your robot, remember that broken glass? You could teach it in my house. The recycle bin is in the garage, bring the glass there. In addition to learning, you'll be able to customize your robots by downloading apps, just like you do to your smartphones today. You'll download apps to your robot. This will let them learn new tricks and do things that other people have figured out how to get them to do. So robots are going to grow with us, they'll develop with us. Maybe if you have a robot as a kid, it'll play games with you, it'll warn you when you're doing something dangerous, it might scold you even. When you're a teenager, the robot might take pictures of you or help you practice guitar, might tell you when to say cheese. And then as you get even older, maybe the robot learns your habits. It knows that you want that glass of water by the side of the table when you go to sleep. So the robots that adapt are the ones that will adopt. So this is the kind of future that I think we're going to have with robots. I think it's coming soon. And brains are going to be the key to allowing this to happen. But the robots are going to be much more like animals and not really the way movies and film and TV portray them to be. It's going to be a very different, but I think very exciting future. Thank you.